What's up? We got to talk hip hop today. This is Steph Saucy Talk. What you got? Steph Saucy, man. You know, they call me Steph, or some call me Saucy. But look, we just had an album drop last week. It's from the boy from Uptown, you know, Harlem. Yeah, man, ASAP Rocky's finally come back after a long hiatus. And when I say long, it's very long. But you know, I think that's the creativity and the artistic way of dropping albums. It seems like, hey, look, I'm just here reporting the news. You know how I do, because you know I was someone that was young, hungry in the radio business. I got the opportunity to meet ASAP Rocky about 2 years ago, man, and very humble dude. Obviously, as I mentioned, he is from Harlem, and he also, is a person that is known globally through his fashion, obviously through his whiskey. Obviously his girl is damn near Rihanna. So we know he's got a lot going on for himself. But this album, we're going to get to it today. It's called Don't Be Dumb. Yeah, not me, but it's you to not be dumb. Because I think that's what a lot of people been acting like. Yo, don't act like he can't drop some heat. I mean, he had a few good songs on there, what I'm going to get to today that we're going to talk about. But overall, Don't Be Dumb has been projected to be doing pretty good. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to also, was it worth the wait? After all these years, really, was it? I'm going to ask you that. I'm going to get to that. And also, a very famous media personality called out ASAP Rocky, saying that, is he even known for good music anymore? He said that. So we're gonna get to that person too as well. Look, man, all things saucy, of course, baby. Make sure to like and subscribe as we get to the big screen. Let's do it. It is a Monday, and we're talking ASAP Rocky. Don't be dumb. Let's look at the numbers. Numbers speak for themselves. Haters speak last. But you know how that goes. Haters gonna hate. ASAP Rocky, the headline reads, Don't Be Dumb receives healthy, not unhealthy, but healthy first week sales projections. That's the bread and butter, right? As an artist, you want to sell, a lot of copies the first, week when you drop your album. Here's a picture of ASAP Rocky at his album release party in New York City, January 15th. And, his girl pulled up too. And he had a decent rollout. He had SNL. He had a podcast interview that he did as well, too. So, and it's been so many years, man. I mean, last year, he was supposed to drop in the summer. Then it was supposed to be the end of the year. Then finally, we got the release date, which is now in 2026. And so far, well, it has been the biggest album so far to 2026. But someone that topped him on the first day of streaming was no other than, my cousin said it himself, who's one of the GOATs right now, and that's NBA YoungBoy. Can't knock the kid. He gets his numbers anytime he drops. Well, that's another topic to discuss. But here we go. Let's get to what ASAP Rocky has done since the release of Don't Be Dumb. So look, they said great news to kick off this week as Billboard Hot 200 gives an update saying Don't Be Dumb is very likely to top the charts. That's because chart predictions, his fourth studio album is projected to move at least 200,000 units. That's pretty good for someone that hasn't released in a very long time. And I know the fans out there have been, really time tested, I would say, to figure out what's taking so long. But it's here. It's here for you. 17-track, album, and I got the chance to listen to it over the weekend. So they break it down according to chart predictions. They say ASAP Rocky Don't Be Dumb is currently aiming to debut number one on next week's Billboard 200. If achieving, it would become his third U.S. number one album following Long Live ASAP, which I really like that one, and At Long Last ASAP in 2015. That's so long ago, man. Like, seriously, that's a very long time. So they're saying that from 70 to 90K of that total is stream equivalent or SEA, and 100K of physical copies. Because let's be honest, who's really buying physical copies unless you really truly love the artist And according to this stat right here, on Saturday, a press release reported that Rocky had already sold 130,000 copies thanks to the variety of offered vinyl. Vinyl is if you really love the artist and you want to invest into them. That's how you get your sales up right there. And that's pretty dope to say, for someone that hasn't dropped in a very long time. But, let's see what they got to say. Let's continue, keep going down. Look at the career week sales. Wow. 15,000 the first time he dropped Long Live ASAP. Then 139,000 for Long Live ASAP. At Last Long ASAP, 146,000. Testing, very weak there after going so high in the 100Ks, and he went back down to 75,000. So don't be dumb as hell, y'all. And we're going to get to the bottom of this because this right here is an album from my first initial thoughts. I did not know how to categorize this album. I'm going to be honest with you. I heard everything from punk rock. Yeah, you heard me say that, Bets. It's a punk rock song on there. We had trap. We had hip hop. And really was interested enough to hear a jazz-inspired song featuring Doechii. And then he had an R&B song, which was kind of like a love letter, to the ladies out there. So you've seen him explore a lot of different genres, a lot of different themes. And, it's pretty interesting to say because when I look at, A$AP Rocky, man, I know him for lyricism. I know him for that. But exploring different things, it kind of threw me off a bit. I'll be honest with you guys. I did not expect that from him. But time will tell all, as they like to say. But we got to get to a guy by the name of Charlemagne the God. And the reason why I'm doing this today is because he said, quote, every time I hear something, this is according to Complex, about A$AP Rocky's music, it's him dissing Drake. I don't ever hear like, yo, Rocky just put out hot record. All here is, yo, Rocky diss Drake. So let's hear the actual audio. Let's see what he said on the Breakfast Club.
How y'all know guys about Drake? I'm just asking. I don't know. I didn't hear what was.
Well, he's talking about a rapper with BBLs. He's talking about stole your flow and stealing a flow and stealing somebody's girl. Yeah. There's always been that. And he's had that conversation before about the whole him feeling like Drake kind of took some things from him. And then we know he's with Rihanna.
Drake had a BBL?
That's what,
That was a rumor.
That was the whole thing. You remember that.
Yo, this guy is always a clown, bro. Talking about this Drake got a BBL. See, that's what I'm saying. This is what notoriety does to you. Making comments like that, knowing that Drake has been involved in a lot of different beefs over the past few years now, going back and forth with Kendrick Lamar, and then now this with A$AP Rocky. So let's continue to listen.
And I feel like you've made jokes about BBL Jersey.
Every time I hear something about A$AP Rocky's music, it's him dissing Drake. Like, does anybody ever be like, yo, A$AP's music is just good? I don't never hear that anymore. I don't never hear be like, yo, Rocky just put out a hot record. All I hear is, yo, Rocky diss Drake, and then somebody will play it, and then you'll listen and be like, okay.
Mm-hmm. There's more to the album than just that. But also, too, A$AP Rocky was on a pop.
Lauren LaRosa, I gotta, give her credit for that. There was more to the album, Charlemagne. Now, you telling me you get paid thousands of dollars, and not only that, you just signed a $200 million deal to say that shit on the radio? Oh, nah, man. You taking too much money now, because not a real professional radio personality that's in the hip-hop media sphere can say some shit like that. I want to believe it's just the egotistical way of you just showing that you've been hearing a lot of Drake disses, and here goes another one. Of course, the battle between him and Kendrick, which you have openly said you like the records that Kendrick put out against Drake. So you telling me you didn't feel any part of the album was newsworthy to bring up besides you mentioning that he's dissing Drake? Nah, man. See, and then he made the comment about the BBL. Now, Drake will always be forever shamed about that because Kendrick Lamar said that in Euphoria. He said, where'd you get your abs from? You know what I'm saying? And, Euphoria was a 6-minute diss track that did pretty well. But see, that's what I'm saying, man. And we're gonna get to that song that Charlemagne and the Breakfast Club hosts were referencing to. It's called "Stole Your Flow," and it's pretty much the title speaks for itself. Who stole his flow? Well, as they mentioned, it's Drake. And let's get to what we hear in the lyrics. And obviously the chorus says, "First, you stole my flow, so I stole your bitch." Wow. And in terms of that, he's talking about the one and only, the billionaire, the famous global icon that is Rihanna. Why is he saying that? Because he has someone that he knows is a forever girl. And he mentioned in the interview, you can have 100 different other women, but nothing accounts to that one woman. And that right there shows you that if Drake still had Rihanna, things would have probably been different. Rocky's course of music probably would have been different. But he's living that good life. Like Pusha T said, life is peachy, ASAP and Riri. Let's continue to go down. All right. So he says, "Can't trust a soul, just Pole and my kids. Swear to never lie. Cross my heart, hope to die. Then sold the switch. Then I hit it with a kiss." All right. So then we go down. Here we go again. Charlemagne referenced BBLs. ASAP Rocky did as well. All red Mary Janes. Just matched the Rari paint. Been shitting on everything. Wasn't even potty trained. Okay, I like that bar right there. That was tough. Niggas getting BBLs. Lucky we don't body shame. Throwing dirt on Rocky name. Turn around a copy game. Peace, homie. Black on black. Peace stone. Black onyx. Black diamond shining. Black jeans on. All black chrome. See, here goes the fashion part of Rocky. Knowing that he is a trendsetter. Knowing that he is someone that is a fashion ambassador. He continually switches up his flows and his clothes. Obviously, we want to say the other part, but he's with Rihanna right now. So then that's the inspiring part about, being an artist, how, pretty much he is claiming he is a fashion king. So by all these different type of brands he's wearing, how he matches together, the similarities of doing that is pretty tough to say the least in the song, just to put that out there. And then back to the chorus, "Stole my flow, so I stole your bitch." So that pretty much sums up this song. Obviously Rocky claiming that, Rihanna is on his wrist now instead of Drake's wrist. But the flow part, I think the flow part is real interesting because if you remember a song back then, Problems, ASAP Rocky, Kendrick Lamar, Drake, and 2 Chainz, all on that record. Until this day, Rocky said he doesn't even like the fact that he did that record. But that song right there was tough. And I think it probably could have started from that point on where Rocky kind of felt like Drake was in the same stratosphere as him as far as flows is concerned off of that same song. ASAP, Get Like Me, Ain't No Mother Fresh Like Me, Chrome to Your Dome. See? And then now Drake, he comes back in with a hard verse too. This is the album Who You Sleeping On. We can speak the lyrics out. And I got Drop Down and Get Your Eagle On. It was just back and forth verse from those two, which I thought was pretty tough. So here goes an example of Don't Be Dumb of what we seen as we got further down into the album. That's where I said it was a good but not great album because we started to see different forms of ASAP Rocky that we haven't heard in a very long time. I haven't heard in a long time, and it kind of just threw me off. So, as far as I'm concerned, that right there, Stole Your Flow, was an eye-opener. And I feel like this wasn't the first time we've heard Rocky dissing Drake. We heard it on the Metro and Future album, We Don't Trust You. He was a part of one of those records too. And he previewed a lot of snippets too at Rolling Lounge sets, continuously dissing. So we gonna forever have that monkey on our back. All the Drake fans out there, right? Am I not the only one that feels the same way about Drake? And I guess you could say the girl that he missed, that got away from him. We've all had that in life. We think we were better than what we thought we can handle, and there's that other person out there for us. And unfortunately, hindsight, years later now, we can look back and say, man, maybe I should have changed the way how I acted towards that person. And he forever gonna be, known for that. Missing out on the bag. And not only that, missing out on a bad gal like Riri. Damn, Drake. That's crazy, bro. I'll be honest with you. That right there, that's a perfect example of you can't fumble the bag, as they say. But that's okay. Drake gonna continue to do what Drake does. Social media presence, album dropping, huge sales, huge streaming numbers, huge notoriety. Do I need to say anything more? But let's continue. Here goes another song off the album, A$AP Rocky, Helicopter. And once again, it's another song where I felt like it visually stood out to me because it's an animated type video, but it's pretty dope, man, because it's like Rocky in that punk phase / hip hop phase. So as we get down into the song and I'm looking at it, and I said to myself, damn, Rocky spit a long ass freaking verse on this song. So here we go. I'm checking my sneakers. No checks on my sneakers. You know what that means, right? We're not talking about Nike. Obviously, Drake, once again, has a deal with Nike. There goes again. There goes the shots again. Just Puma, Gap, and yeah, Goody Grim. Pull up to the church in my hoodie then. About to get money for Shirley then. I ride around in all pink Mercedes. The pussy whip like Killer Cam. My braids looking like I could be Jim. Harlem, Uptown. He paying homage to Cameron. That's dope right there. And obviously, Jim Jones, unfortunately, he don't got it no more. He trying to keep up with these young boys, but he just don't got it no more. They looking around like that could be them. Lots of options around. You could be them. If we talking about pockets, you know mine fat. If we talking about your chances, they could be thin. And I'm knocking at your door like, let me in. Who got more pussy than a lesbian? And once again, I am going to say on record, that was another Drake diss. Do you remember the song Girls Want Girls with Lil Baby? If you remember that song, that was a song where Drake talked about girls want where I'm from, saying you a lesbian girl, me too. Now, as a man, grown-ass man like myself, I could not see myself saying that. I am not a lesbian. I do love women, but I am not a lesbian. So there goes, again, another example. Rocky didn't confirm that was a Drake diss, but I got more sense than to know that I've heard Drake talk about he's a lesbian. To my Drake fans out there, we are forever what? Gonna be dissed. Because success brings a lot of hatred, and with a lot of hatred brings a lot of turmoil. And that's never going to change, because being on top, you can't stay on the top forever. Eventually, you got to come down to your senses, come down to the level field, playing field, and people going to gun for you. We see it in every era. We see it in every type of profession, sports, journalism, finance. You can name it all, guys. That's what we're going to see. So there we go again with Helicopter. Another song. So here we go. This is a very important verse right here. Nowadays, Niggas do anything for a blue check. When tennis shoes had the check or 3 stripes on the side way before Puma cut the check, yeah, 3 strikes, that's your life. Adidas is known for that 3 stripes. And who at one point had Adidas as someone backing them? Yay. That right there was kind of dope to see that part right there. Man, yo, Rocky is an MC. I don't care what y'all said. I don't care what Charlamagne said about that whole him dissing Drake. He's got other music on this album too, by the way, guys. Let's not forget that. Let's get to the bottom now, because this is the last part I want to mention, because then he goes back to the chorus. From the internet, niggas set the trend. Now the trend is set. Then they run and do it and then forget who did it best. Once again, Rocky showing his supremacy as a trendsetter. A lot of people are going to bite off of you, man. That's just going to be a part of life. But the fact that people that claim it before he claimed it, that's the issue he's having. So he's saying straight up, I did it the best. No one's doing it better than me. And, you know, the album right there speaks for itself. You're going to get that type of flow, that type of energy from him, man. That's the best word to describe it. That energy, bro. And not like another guy that I mentioned last time saying he's the greatest rapper alive and how he's a GOAT, and then he goes against Kendrick Lamar and then all of a sudden is a shell of himself, which is Jermaine Cole. You're not going to get that from A$AP Rocky. And you can use that for clickbait if you want to, but I'm telling you right now, you cannot back down from a battle. And what I saw from Jermaine Cole was complete collapse of his whole debate of being a GOAT. That's not what GOATs do. Just saying it. You cannot do that. So, A$AP Rocky is currently still in New York. I believe he's got Jimmy Fallon coming up. And this is the next point I want to mention to you, right? Because I mentioned how he went on this whole hiatus and how, you know, how long it's taken for him to drop an album. And he's not the only one. And I really got this question to ask is, artistically, is it better for you to wait long amount of years to drop an album, or do you have to consistently, time and time, sometimes twice a quarter, maybe every quarter, drop a project / album? Because that's the problem I had with A$AP Rocky. I've known him for being such a great lyricist. I've known him to obviously take off in the fashion business. And then I've known him to have his girl Riri. So through all of that, what I'm trying to say to you is, where does the disconnect come from? Because a lot of YNs that I speak to will probably tell me right now they do not know who A$AP Rocky is. And if they do know who he is, they've only known him for being with Riri. That's not a good look. And he would argue and probably say, well, I put in my time. I put in my effort. I've done the promotion. I've done the distribution. I've done the production. My sound will forever live on, as he said in his albums titled Long Live A$AP, and so forth and so on. But then again, I say to myself, okay, why are you being so biased? I could be biased because if I ask someone, do you know who Notorious B.I.G. is? They'll say yes. And you know what the difference is? He is culturally known around the world for his lyricism and his larger than life, you know, collection of music. We can't say that so much for A$AP Rocky. And I feel like, you know, if you're currently right now a rapper, if you're not NBA Youngboy, a Rod Wave, a Lil TJ, so forth and so on. I'll even go as far as to say, if you're not a Plaque Max and you know he's a trash bucket, then where do you stand in the music world as far as hip-hop is concerned? Because as far as I know, hip-hop was a culture. It's a lifestyle. It's storytelling. It's not about what the life can bring you, but it's about what life you brung to it. And I'm starting to see that disconnect now from hip hop. Because everybody's a trendy person. Everybody's popping on social media. So you mean to tell me if you don't have a social media song that goes hit or go viral, that's a problem? Oh, not only that, the biggest threat is the AI. And you know they could do that for way less cheaper, more effective, and it could be widely known. Where do we stand now in hip hop? That's crazy to me, man. I think that's the biggest issue I had with the whole A$AP Rocky prolonging the album. Because I want to see him make more music, but does this look like this could be a follow-up to another album, then maybe another album after that? I don't think so. We know what happens after you drop an album, you go on tour. Okay, he might do a few shows. But then after that, he has mentioned plenty of times, he is a father now. He wants to take care of his kids. He wants to be around his woman. He wants to live life, live good. And that's about it. So where does he go from here? Where does hip hop go from here? Because comments like that saying, I don't ever heard someone say A$AP Rocky music is good. No, it's good. It's just not to your liking. And I thought you know what an MC was. But clearly being an MC is not a thing. I don't know. That right there is the scary part now. Because a lot of people are moving away from that era. Okay, let me hear a rhyme. Can you rhyme good? Nobody cares for that no more, man. You can literally go on a song, talk about how you've been to this place, you wear this type of clothes, you buy this type of car, and you live this certain type of lifestyle. That's what you should be as a hip-hop artist. What? No, that comes after the fact that you've made it in the industry. Then all that stuff can come. No, not beforehand. That makes it cool. That's nothing. That's literally nothing of relevance. Anybody could obtain that. You could be a scammer right now. Go ahead and pop a lick for $10K. Buy all the clothes, jewelry you want. Have all the girls you want. But then after that, where do you get your next check? How you going to eat? How you going to survive? And I'm seeing that from a lot of rappers nowadays. They're getting big and they just fall off because they don't have what it takes to have longevity in the business, man. I think that's going to be the biggest issue we see within the next 5 to 10 years. Or maybe even shorter than that. So, look, I'm almost out of time. And I hope what I said today really resonated with the YNs out there. Or if you're just a music fan in general. Because what I'm seeing right now is hip-hop is starting to come back. But then it starts to fall back. Why is that? Because no one is spending the money on these artists. Because right now, as we stand, Afro is coming up. Latin music has always been coming up, but that's been promoted a lot. So labels are not spending as much money. So what's the next best alternative? You got to do it yourself. Because once you do it yourself, and then you get that one song to blow up on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, then they come calling. It's been real. And we'll continue to see how the A$AP Rocky Don't Be Dumb numbers come in. But also, I got more content on the way. You know how I do, man. So until next time, it's been real. Peace.